I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 to $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies, where we talk a little Bucks basketball. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. He, of course, the top 5 basketball insiders in all the country. Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. The Bucks got a win. The 9-game losing streak is over, finished, and it couldn't have come against a better team than the Detroit Pistons and Brandon Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, all the 7,000 people that were at the Bradley Center last night.
If you say there were that many, I'll take your word for it.
There were. I mean, you know what was crazy, though? You wouldn't
paid attention to 11,000.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known that there were 7,000 people because, honest to God, at the end of the game, last quarter, everybody was up screaming, yelling, and it sounded almost, it had like a playoff feel to it.
Sure.
Even though, I mean, the lower bowl was full and that was pretty much it. But my point being is that as soon as Brandon Jennings touched the ball, the opening tip, I'll bet 50% of the people were booing it. You know, it's like, this guy is not well liked.
I was at the first game this year against the Pistons in Detroit. I was there as a fan. We booed him every time he touched the basketball. And I didn't know if it was happening. It didn't sound like it was happening all throughout the game. It happened in spurts throughout the game last night. But Jennings had a good game. I mean, 30 points last night.
He had a great game.
Considering he's shooting like 36% from the field, he was feeling it last night. But Racine's very own Caron Butler on his bobblehead day was also feeling it and actually got a bunch of minutes. He scored 30 of his own.
Sure. Just one other thing on Jennings. He ended up, what did you say, 30 points?
30 points.
Yeah, I mean, he had a terrific game. Do you know what he did the night before?
0 for 7.
He didn't score a point.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, that's typical Brandon Jennings. I mean, we saw in Milwaukee during his tenure there.
But the issue I have, we'll eventually get back to this game in Butler, but the issue that I have is he tells the Detroit beat writer that, well, you know, in Milwaukee, they didn't really watch film. You know, now with Mo Cheeks, I'm watching hours of film a week trying to figure out how to play my position. Now, I'm not sure I'm buying that Scott Skiles and him weren't watching film, or that Scott Skiles didn't have him watching film at all at any point during his Bucks tenure. I'm not sure I really believe that.
Now, one of the people in the Bucks locker room last night said, so what's Brandon's latest excuse? You know? I mean, they know his act. Yep. I mean, if something goes south on the guy, instead of, being accountable, he just
he said that
it off.
When he was in Milwaukee, he was able to play basketball and hoop it and shoot shots at will, he said.
Yeah,
now here, he goes, I got to really facilitate and work for others and blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, stop. Just stop.
I'll tell you what, he took a couple of shots going to the basket last night that you normally don't see with guys going to the basket. It was almost like 1970s and 80s basketball there for a minute.
Again, that's how it's going to go. But he played well last night, obviously, when he was out there. But the Pistons lose, Bucks win. And again, Caron Butler bobblehead, 30 points from Caron Butler. Got a bunch of minutes, so I'm guessing Friday night in Cleveland he'll probably get about 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. If you remember earlier in the season, he had a 38-point game against 76ers.
November 22nd.
And this is my pet peeve with the Bucks. They started out sluggishly. I mean, their record wasn't great, but the vast majority of the games, they were competitive. They would go into the fourth quarter, and fans said, hey, they might lose, but you know what? We saw a good game here. They were competing, and you saw some professionalism. And then all of a sudden, he scores 38 points, and 2 nights later, he's yanked from the starting lineup. They put in Giannis, and it was like everything went downhill with that team. I mean, they weren't even competitive. For every game that they were competitive, 4 games they were non-competitive. And last night, I don't know what happened, but the entire fourth quarter, Larry Drew stuck with the guys on the floor that were playing well. Yep. He didn't care. He didn't say, hey, I got to put Giannis back into the game. I got to put so-and-so back into the game. He stuck with those 5. They've developed some cohesiveness. And I know, unfortunately, for the people on the tank.
No, not really, though. Not really, because everybody wanted to beat Jennings. Now, again, this was some other, like the Bobcats, then I think there would be some people going, what are you doing? But, I mean, from this perspective, because it was Brandon Jennings and how Brandon Jennings is,
I agree.
I think everybody said, hey, this is 5.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it was like, this team needed a win in the worst way. They have a locker room of really good guys. I mean, they are it's one of the better groups they've ever had. But unfortunately, when losing how many was it, 9 in a row?
9 in a row.
Sets in. Everybody was a little ornery. Cron Butler got a little upset about a week or two ago about, being pulled out. And I thought that was understandable. And what I was saying before about Cron being pulled out, I don't have any issues with giving Giannis 20, 25 minutes game. None. In fact, I'm all for it, okay? My issue is let him come off the bench, let him play against second-string, people, let him develop his confidence, let him grow. Instead of just force-feeding them into the thing and say, you know what, this is your job now, go play 30 minutes, make all the mistakes you want, and you won't be accountable.
And you and I are going to disagree about this forever. But having said that, they are in a position now going forward where not only the 2014 draft solid, we had a guy on last night that came on our big show and talked about 2015 might actually be as strong, if not stronger, than 2014 because of the guys that are in that draft. Cliff Alexander is a big guy in that draft. Jahlil Okafor is another big guy in that draft. I mean, you've got another group of guys. Now, from a Bucks fan perspective, the strength of that group next year, provided they're all healthy and all that, they're all bigs. I mean, 6'10", 6'11 guys. Okafor is like 6'11 and 250 or something crazy like that. He's got some size to him. So if you do draft big, if you do go Joel Embiid, do you come back and take another big then if you're in the top 3 again next year and go bye-bye to John Henson?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they got to take the best player, period.
Both years, right?
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah, absolutely. What I've been told by a couple people, and I trust them thoroughly, this is going to be a one-year project for the Bucks. This is it. You're going to the playoffs. They're going to get Parker, Wiggins, or whatever, and they're going to build with him and Giannis and Knight, probably Middleton, and Walters. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Henson. Now, this is going to all change depending on what happens in the trading deadline. I mean, anybody is on the table except Giannis, from what I've told.
Henson?
Henson, yeah.
Henson's on the table.
That's what I've been told. But, it makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
How does it make sense?
I mean, if they come back and say, hey, we can get Henson maybe for a top 10 pick or something like that, I got to see what they're thinking that they want.
Oh, okay. Now, hold on now.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if we're talking I'm getting a top 5, number 1 pick back or something like that, all right, maybe I listen to that.
That's my point.
But if I'm taking back some veteran guy that can help us with the playoff run next year, I'm going to lose my mind.
No. So, but what I've heard is that, and we've heard this before, this is a one-year project. And if you look at it,
it has to be more than 1 year.
You got to look at it.
Well, it has to be 3 to 4 years.
Let's be realistic. They'll probably be in the lottery again next year.
They better be. Well, they better be just as bad next year.
But again, you can only have so many young guys. I mean, at a point, you got to say, okay, these are your top 3, 4 guys.
And that's who you're going to build around.
Exactly.
Sure.
And right now, let's say they get Parker, okay? They have Parker, Giannis, Knight, and Henson. Those are 4 quality young players. You can't look at Detroit last night. Perfect example. You got all these young players on the court, and they don't have a clue what's going on, who's getting the ball.
That's a whole nother.
It is, but I mean, sometimes you can have too many guys in the mix. I
said this before, and this is going to contradict what you just said. Yeah. But if I'm John Hammond, Luke Rittenauer, you can have it from Little Caesars Pizza. And when he's banging better, fine, you can have him too. Sure. And then I'm going to go to the D-League, and I'm going to go find the best 2 guards I can find in the D-League right now, and I'm going to sign them if I can, and I'm going to put them on the floor and go play. And see if I can get lucky and find a 2 guard that I can maybe build around for the next couple of years. Because there's not a 2 guard you're going to get at the top of this draft. You're not getting that. And you don't have one on the roster right now. Sorry, OJ.
Yeah.
You don't have one on the roster. So if you can go find yourself a 2 guard that can develop for the rest of the year, then go get that guy out of the D-League. Replace the veterans you trade with D-League guys. That's what I say.
I mean, the only thing, and I totally agree with you, they don't have a 2 guy. I mean, OJ Mayo has been a bitter disappointment, even though the guy's, 25, 26. Yep. So, but the problem is that there isn't anybody in the D-League, number 1. Nobody. If there's anybody that had an upside like you're hoping,
I'm going to look. I haven't looked yet. I'm going to look. Next week, I'm going to give you a D-League report.
I'll be very impressed if you can come up with anybody.
I'm going to do a D-League report next week.
Now, if you're going to the D-League, I'd say, hey, let's go get Giannis's brother and bring him in.
Fine.
And draft him. You
can't sign him. You can't wait till the draft.
Right.
You've got 3 second-round picks.
But you talk about shooting guard, and I think the Bucks would love to have a shooting guard. My gut feeling is they might try to get a mid-first-round pick because there's like 3 or 4 guys that can get into that range.
But you'd have to get back up there.
And then at that point, Your shooting guard doesn't have to be a great player. He's just got to be a good player.
He's got to be a shooter.
Well, sure, but no,
you don't have a shooter of the guys you have. Giannis,
no.
Okay, Brandon Knight,
no.
And Henson, no. You need someone like Klay Thompson, your buddy.
That's true.
That's what you need right now.
They need a perimeter striker,
yes.
No doubt, in a big way. But they need a scorer. That's the bottom line. They cannot rely on just Brandon Knight. And as much as I like Giannis, I have a gut feeling he's never going to be a 20-point-per-game scorer.
Oh, I think he will be.
I don't. I think he's going to be somewhere around the 17, 18.
Is he like Kirilenko?
Oh! You got to read my story next week. You're going to love this. Did you know what I was going to do?
No. I had no idea.
That's incredible.
Shocked.
I mean, out of the blue, you say Kirilenko. Nobody said Kirilenko.
I've been kind of thinking about this, watching him play a little bit, where Kirilenko, like you said, doesn't score 20 points a night, but has blocks, has rebounds, he's long, that kind of player.
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
The other day, I'm talking to Caron Butler, right?
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a bunch of everybody. Okay, who does Giannis compare to? And I'm getting the same old, Kevin Durant, Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen. And they're not saying that these guys, they got elements of their game, okay? Come up to Caron Butler and he goes, I really gave this a lot of thought. And Caron's a thoughtful guy. He just doesn't spurt out things, right? Andrei Kirilenko. Unbelievable. And he's the first guy who said that. And then all of a sudden you come along with it.
And now it's not as original as you thought it was.
But you know what?
That's good.
I see a lot of similarities.
Sure.
And again, Andrei Kirilenko was never a 20-point-per-game scorer.
No, he wasn't. But he did a lot of stuff. He was a game changer.
Absolutely. He's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
You go across, he's going to get you rebounds, assists, he's going to play good D.
People would be very disappointed if he ends up being Andrei Kirilenko.
But see, exactly.
Because the bar has been raised.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
That's why. Not because he's a bad player, just because the expectations.
I mean, the Bucks fans are searching for a savior.
Yes!
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No question, and I fully understand that. But my bottom line is, hey, don't put this guy up in the Magic Johnson.
Well, don't worry, because what's going to happen here is whoever they take number one will overshadow Giannis.
And he better.
He's going to. Whether that's Embiid, Wiggins, or Parker, whoever it is of those three, that's going to be the one the fans are going to turn to and go, okay, Giannis is developing. You, on the other hand, have to come in and play right away.
Okay. And to me, it's like boom or bust. It's Parker. And I know you're a huge Wiggins fan, but it goes back to my point. If you want to be a great team, you better have a big-time scorer on the team.
And I think Wiggins is a better scorer than Parker when it's all said and done.
Oh, not it.
Parker is more polished right now. I don't disagree.
I agree with that.
I agree. I agree with you on that. Wiggins' motor is questioned, but motor meaning effort and all that.
Right.
But I think he's just bored, number one. And number two,
No.
personally, and I don't know Andrew Wiggins, I think this offense that he's in with Bill Self, he realizes this is just stupid. When I get to the NBA, then I'll get to be more me. Because NBA is a one-on-one league.
Absolutely.
But that's what Wiggins is, and you don't get that opportunity within Self's Kansas offense. Self runs, it's like Bo Ryan. Bo runs his system. You get your points within Bo's system. And someone's going to run what Self runs. Now, the wild card in all this is Joel Embiid. All of these comparisons to Hakeem Olajuwon. And Joel Embiid talks about he's watching tape of Olajuwon, he's watching tape of Ewing, he's watching tape of Duncan, and he's kind of pulling parts from that. He's only played for 3 years, okay? He doesn't know anything about this country. Driving, he's tried it like 3 or 4 times. He's scared to death of it. He doesn't want to do that anymore. Food, he doesn't know what food is good for him. You could give him a double bacon cheeseburger. He wouldn't know if he should have 6 of those and that help him build muscle or not. So he's got a lot to learn. But if he has Hakeem Olajuwon potential, all right?
Right.
And if Jabari Parker is Paul Pierce, and Wiggins is, I don't know.
You're saying who is Paul Pierce?
Parker.
You know what? I think he's going to be more like Carmelo Anthony or Big Dog.
Okay.
And that's a darn good player.
And what is Wiggins?
Scottie Pippen, maybe.
Okay, so those are the three. I'm fine with that. Okay, so those are the 3 comparisons that you have.
Yeah.
But he's Olajuwon, if that's the comparison. And your guy is Big Dog, right?
Right.
And I love Big Dog. Those are the guys.
Except he's a better Big Dog.
Okay, but if
you're saying a lot.
But if you're the Bucks, you're looking at this going, I might have to take Olajuwon. Even though I've got Larry Sanders, because how many big guys are there in the NBA right now? 3?
And I'll tell you what.
4?
I'll save the Bucks a lot of hassle. I'm doing them a favor. Don't take them. Don't take them. And that's all I'm going to say.
You have to take him at 3.
We will take.
If you're at 3, you have to take him.
No, you don't.
He's a top 3 talent.
Well, when we get closer to the draft, I'll go into more detail as to why they will not take him.
Why they will not?
No, I mean why they shouldn't take him.
If they take Marcus Smart over Joel Embiid, I'm going to be furious. I mean, just
I wouldn't.
put that out there.
I wouldn't.
Yes, I would. He's Brandon Knight. I mean,
and you're right. He is Brandon Knight.
He's not a point guard. He's a scorer. I mean, they're both kind of the same guys. So I'm going to have two guys in the backcourt that don't know how to run an offense.
No.
Congratulations. That works splendid.
No, that would be the perfect way to go if they're going to go backcourt. Either one of those point guards is going to be an ideal complement with Brandon Knight. Because Brandon Knight's biggest weakness right now is handling the ball. He gets into trouble when he penetrates the lane, dishes the ball out.
Like a point guard.
But I'm saying, now you can change him. I mean, if Brandon Knight gets the ball on the break, he can take it. If Smart or
I don't like
Exum, I think either point guard would help that team considerably.
I haven't seen enough of that. I don't know, but Smart, no. But Joel Embiid is a top 3 player, and I may come. Right now, I'm still a Wiggins guy, but I may come over to the Joel Embiid side before this is all said and done. Here's Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. The Wendy's Big Show.
One of these days, I come over to Parker.
1250.
Your senses.
WSSP. I don't think that's going to happen. And again, I'm not going to be upset if they take him. So just to be clarified, I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't believe they took him. No, I'm not.
If I was Herb Kohler, I got at Parker, I wouldn't sell the team. I'd keep it for another 8 years.
But then the issue is, what do you do with Giannis? See,
what do you mean? What do you do? You play them all.
Parker's the 3. He can't play any other position.
He can play 3, 4.
No, he can't play.
Oh, he certainly can. No, absolutely.
We disagree on that. I don't think
when you go small. I mean, Cron Butler plays the 4. Come on.
Right, and he shouldn't be playing the 4 either. He's not a 4. And I think if you go ask him, hey, come on, you're playing forward?
Carmelo Anthony plays the 4 for most of the time on the floor.
Yeah, but you think Parker's Carmelo's, but okay, fine. Here's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. Enjoy the rest of your day here at RacineSportsZone.com.